Hi everyone. In this session, I am going to coach you how you will prepare your professional test plan with respect to the requirements which your client is going to share with you. So let's take example of the JunaidJamshed.com e-commerce website. So the client requirement is that we need to test this website, and for testing this whole website, we need to make sure about, let's say, new arrival, women collections, men's collections, and boys collections are our requirements for doing the testing. And the customer is expecting that we need to share the complete test plan and the number of test cases, like what will be our strategy for the testing with respect to the business requirement. And let's say the client said that whenever I would like to click here and after that move towards the kids collection, I will be able to see all my expected products. The items should be in front of me, and I can select any of the color family product categories. I can navigate there, and you need to test all these functionalities and make sure that there should not be any kind of errors or bug exist now. So if any individual users will click on any of the particular product, so the details will be presenting in front of us, and the customer can easily see the information and see the different sizes and the colors and the different combinations. The look and feel and sizes should be there, and then the customer will be able to easily can see the information regarding how to add to bag and then add to cart. The information will be presenting in front of us, and then we can add more products, or we can also system will be showing us the alerts. Let's say if the item is not available, so you can see like if in stock is showing here, so this means I can buy this product. So the simple way, these are all the things we are now developing our test plan, and all these requirements we need to make sure that the customer will be able to navigate and see and can purchase the respective product easily without any kind of hurdles now. So let's quickly talk about test plan. So if I just navigate here, and then this is the test plan which I just developed now, and this is for the test plan for e-commerce Junaid Jamshed website. And in this test plan, let's say we are restricting our client that we are going to test the application on the web-based application and Android testing we are doing now. So this is the game plan, like we have specified that who is the owner on the test plan approval. So I specified like my name as a QA manager, the tester name, and then the client product owner that he needs to approve our test plan for the testing. So the agenda of test plan, that these things you need to specify in your test plan, and that information starting from the test scope, then the test schedule and the timelines you need to specify, the project communication protocol, the classification of bugs you need to identify, then you need to identify the testing projects KPIs, the test teams, the prerequisites, SLA, escalations, the entry criteria, the exit criteria, and all the assumptions and risk activity testing you need to specify in your test plan. So let's talk about scope of the testing. This is one of the most important part of the before starting your testing, you need to specify and present in front of your customer that these are our testing scope which we are going to test the application. So here you will be able to see that we are telling our customer that our major focus should be to test the j.e-commerce website for the enhancement of their project, and consider under the scope of the functionalities we will be performing the UAT testing, UI UX testing, and the performance testing of the application. For better understandings, we also specified the list of the modules. So we said that new arrival, women collections, the kids collections, and the admin sections are our scope of the testing activities now. So other than any other modules like the women, the men's collections, or there are so many other modules are showing, so we are not targeting. We are only targeting the stuff which the customer is telling us. So based on the customer requirements, we selected these 4 modules. After that, then you need to specify your functional testing scope and coverage, and here you will be specifying that we will be performing the black box testing, and in black box testing technique we need to verify that application deliver the functionality specification and which are expected under the test. And this is our strategy. We will do the UAT testing, the UI UX testing, and we also doing the testing multilingual, like in Arabic language, English language, and our target should be major flow testing in Arabic language. So the coverage area here, we are saying that web and desktop application version consider under the scope of testing, and we will be testing the application on the Windows 10 and for the desktop application testing, and the web-based application will be performed for the latest versions like Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, and the Chrome browser. So this is the way you are restricting your client, that instead of testing so many other devices, if the client has any further expectations or desire level, he can let us know that okay, you need to also test for the iOS application or specific Android version now. So this is the way you are specifying the scope of the testing activities, and after that you need to share the testing schedule and timelines. And before that you need to specify that how many resources are working for testing this website, e-commerce website. So here I said that the 2 project coordinator, one for the functional tester and team, and second for the performance testing team. So this means that 2 leads, we are flex leads proposing to our client that we are proposing now, and under these leads there can be, we are suggesting and recommending client that we need at least deploy 2 manual tester and 1 performance engineer, and we are not testing the automation test now. So this is the way you can propose your team, and this is the way you are presenting your timelines. So this is the master test plan. In this test plan, you will be specifying your all the activities breakdown, and here you will be able to see in test planning phase, we are saying to customer like in requirement analysis and clarification, uh, test planning, effort estimation, test strategy designing, project property, risk analysis, and the test monitoring and control. We need to have at least 5 days required for test planning activities. So TBD is basically to be decided later with the client, that when we are going to start and when we are going to finish the application, and the manual tester and the project manager are the primary responsibility to manage these activities. So after that, then we are saying to client that we are targeting the exploratory testing. This is our another subtask, and in the exploratory testing we are just explore the application, the evaluating and analyzing the requirements of the application, understand how the workflows are working. So we need 3 days for the exploratory testing, and this is the responsibility of the manual tester and the project manager. They will be working together. And then the test designing part, where we are specifying the test case creations and test scenarios. We are saying to client that we it will take the 10 days for writing the test cases now for the modules which we specified above. And then once we will be completing our test cases creation and the test scenarios, then customer will review and provide their feedback. So the client business team here, as you can see highlighted in the the different color, they will be incorporated their feedback, and if there will be any changes required, then we will incorporate the feedback, and we need the 2 days to complete this task. And after incorporating those changes, then we will provide the test cases for the approval and sign off. And the business team, again, they will review our test cases. If they feel that everything is now as per their business requirement, then they will approve and give us the sign off. Once we will get the sign off, then the another part will start here for the functional testing. So we are suggesting and recommending that for the functional testing cycle we need at least 5 days. So 5 days we specified for the manual testing, and according to the parallel activities, the defect fixation, here the development team, they will be fixing the issues which we are reporting, and these 2 activities are parallel executing now, like we are highlighting the bugs and the development team, they are fixing the bugs. And then defect verification cycle is another cycle which we are verifying the defects which the development team basically they have just fixed now. And once we verify our cycle, if there are still any issues come, then we will run at least more 3 days we are taking and to find out any ripple fixation. And the development team basically they are incorporated all those new bugs if we identify. And finally we are saying to client that we need at least 3 days for the regression cycle. So this is the way we are providing our timeline, and then at the last the client business team they will give us the sign off after once we will be performing all these testing activities. One thing, if you see in the left side, we are specifying the development team activities, the client based teams activities, and development and the testing activities are planned and parallel calculations you will be able to see. So you can also specify your game plan as per the your client requirements now. And once you identify, then the test environment details you need to specify. All the expected requirements should be shared testing team, BRD or application live demo. The testing team will be performed in Android QA manager staging environment. You are letting your customer knows each and everything that these are the requirements you are performing the testing. And the user credential client will provide you the test data client needs to share with the testing team, and client needs to share the bug tracking tool if already using like Jira or Trello now. So the status report, you are also saying to your customer that this is the communication protocol you will be doing with your client during the testing design phase. Weekly status email will be shared to all stakeholders during the test execution phases. Daily status email will shared with all the stakeholders. We will do the daily scrum with these project stakeholders and presenting our execution activities alignment. And then at the end of the cycle, each test execution report will be discussed with all the stakeholders. Now this is the classification of defects you are also specifying in your plan, like in critical you will be identifying the is there any what is mean by critical. So description you specify that anything that prevents execution of the core functionality and has no workaround has major implications of the business. So in a simple words, critical are the bugs when your page cannot be seen or crashed, incomplete page display, page level errors generated, and core functionality missing, not working. So these kinds of issues are called as the critical issues. And then the major issues are the ones when incorrect navigation sequence, personal association error for a major role, editable field or table missing association error for a major role. So label that is completely misleading to the user is called as the major types of issues. And then the medium is basically if properly error messages not showing, wrong anchor tags, read only fields from validations missing, application bugs cause unusual usage. So these are all the things which are falling under the medium. And the minor one are the ones when there will be punctuations issues, capitalization, tab order, sizes, text box, and all these things are coming under the umbrella of minor issues now. And then you need to specify about the testing project KPIs like requirement coverage. Here you are specifying that the requirement coverage formula, the number of requirements covered divided by the total number of requirements multiplied by 100. So the percentage will let you know the requirement coverage. And then the test requirement coverage, again you are specifying the number of executed test cases divided by the total number of test cases multiplied by 100. So here is the delivery team tracks the planned tests versus executed tests so that appropriate action should be taken as faster up the testing process. And if there are any delays and fixations, you need to make sure now. And then the test cases formula, again the past test cases status is equal to number of past test cases divided by the total number of tests executed multiplied by 100. So that will give you the KPI for the test case status. And then the active defects, how many bugs are active, is basically the count of active defects. And in the similar way, the density defect is equal to the module wise defect count in a particular release, build or sprint. And then the defect category is all about that defects belongs to a particular category, total number of defects. And then defect remover efficiency, the formula is the number of defects resolved by the development team divided by the total number of defects at the moment of measurement. And then the rejected defects percentage, you need to specify the number of defects rejected by the development team divided by the total defects reported, multiply by 100. So at the last, you need to specify the defect severity index, the sum of defects severity level divided by the total number of defects now. So after that, you need to specify the prerequisite SLA escalations, and here you need to specify the sign-off requirements, business requirement, the BRD, the functional specification, the wireframes, business flow you are expecting from your client, that they need to provide us the flow diagrams, videos to understand better for the JDOT application, and all queries must be clarified before test execution phases. We are also expecting from the JDOT management that they will provide us the test data requirement. Tests should be fulfilled by the client business team. The build, they need to provide us the QA team for the testing the application. Separate test environment the client needs to share with us, and should not be deployed any code pushing for the execution cycles. The defect reporting tracking system they need to finalize with us, like either they are using the Jira or any of the other tools. We need to make a consensus, and then the test data be to be uploaded in the system before initiating the relevant testing phases. And the training videos should be provided understanding the queries clarification. Now then, we are also highlighting in our test plan the generic SLA, service level agreements, that query clarification within a 2 business days. We are saying to our client that any question or query related to project needs to be answered within a 2 days from the time query was raised. And then we are saying that test data preparation, 4 hours per request email. Client team shall prepare the test data and share with the testing team before starting the end-to-end functional testing. An additional data requirement which will be identified during the test execution phase should not exceed the limit as defined in the service level document column. The delay in the response time will create an impact on the test case execution. Basically, why we are highlighting the SLA, the only reason is that we are restricting the client that they need to follow some of the KPIs, and they need to follow the proper SOPs and guidelines. So we will not be able to see any kind of surprises when we are executing and performing our software testing activities now. And then the backend result confirmation, the backend system 8 hours per hour request, and client again needs to be respond and giving us the answer as per the timeline now. And if there will be any escalation matrix, so who will do what? Manual tester, they will raise the client manager and report and discuss for any critical issues. And the project manager, if the tester cannot be resolve the issues, then the project manager client QA project manager will be communicating with the client project manager, and the test manager will resolve the issues as soon as possible. And client representative, if unable to resolve the conflict, then they need to discuss with the senior governance manager for resolving the issue now. So all these things you need to specify in your test plan, and then you need to specify the entry and exit criteria. And here the functional testing plans you need to specify, before proceeding and executing the testing activities, the client should provide us the BRD, business requirement document, software requirement document, and hand it over the testing team for the analysis and basic understanding. And they need to provide us the application walkthrough, and they need to dedicated point of contact person should be allocated for the project scope understanding and clarification for our queries if we are having for the test execution. And the client needs to be answer over all the queries and assumptions clarified by the client team now. So exit criteria is, in this phase we are saying to the customer that the custom scope, testing scope and the coverage is discussed and finalized with the client team, and the project is approved by the project manager. Formally, kickoff testing team is assigned and along with the roles and responsibility. Dedicated point of contact person should be assigned by the client team, so we can collaborate with the development team, and if required, tailoring the test processes is taken by the testing team. Then the entry criteria, the test design cases you will be able to see here and can review, like testing actual planning is completed by the test cases approved by the client project manager, and testing team is mobilized on the onboarding processes, and the test accounts arranged by the project manager. Application is explored by the testing team and development team. So the testing team basically has handed over the sign-off requirement, the BRD, SRC, software requirement document, functional specification, workflow diagram, any kind of support the client needs to provide for writing the test designing test cases, and any templates if they are using for test case writing, they needs to supposed to share with us now. And exit criteria for this activity will be the application is explored by the delivery testing team and all question and answer clarified by the client team, and we are then sign off the document test cases is provided by the business team. Then sign off the test cases are uploaded on the test execution tool, and the test lab is prepared for the test case execution. So at the last, required test data execution is identified and shared with the client team. Similar is the way we are specifying the entry criteria for the functional testing cycle 1, and when we are exit criteria specifying. So primary objective to specify all these activities that we are minimizing our risk factor, and we are presenting everything in our test plan that this is our complete game plan. And when we are stop testing, if the 85% of the coverage is has no issue and passing percentage is 85%, no more than defect severity of 1, no more defects in severity level medium, high, critical, and all these percentages we are specifying, so that customer will be able to know that when we are going to close our cycle 1. And then the defect verification cycle, again we are specifying the exit criteria, like the integration environment, dedicated instances for the QA, required tested data should be shared by the client team, and there should not be any kind of blocker, zero defects, and the defect severity major and medium should not be more than the 5% and 7%. And in the similar way, the 10% of the total minor issues defects are open. So if this criteria is fulfilling, then we are good to close our defect verification cycle under these terms and conditions. So after that, then we are also highlighting our regression testing and project closure, that for performing the regression, first of all, we need to make sure that the development team, they have also verified the defects, and then they will be providing us the integrated UAT environment, and the regression build assess is provided to the delivery team. And here we need to do the regression test cases are made and available to the delivery team, and the Jira management tool or whatever the client is using granted as the access for logging the issues now. And then the sign up exit criteria here for the regression testing, we are expecting that previous cycle has been executed, unexecuted test cases are discussed and agreed, and keep unexpect executed with the client team now. And all these previous 3 cycles which we specified in our plan should be executed, and then finally we will perform our regression testing. So once the proof of defects verification and prepared and shared with the client team, regression testing report is shared with all the stakeholders, and this is how we will be performing and providing the closure report when we will be perform our regression testing. So this is the way you need to present your regression testing cycle entry criteria and the exit criteria. Then you need to specify the assumptions and risk in your test plan. So these are the assumptions you need to specify. Again, the primary objective, guys, always remember to minimize our risk factor, because if there will be in future customer is not be satisfied with our product and services, so we can specify all the possible conditions. Like in assumptions, you can say to your client that we need to have a designated person, the project manager, the developer, who is responsible for directing and overseeing the service delivery and providing the test lead QA tester with required information and resources in a timely and accurate manner. The hardware, software configuration, all these informations the client team needs to provide the UAT team now, and the environment accessible authorized for the delivery team only. Then the delivery team will shall share the detailed test cases with the client team, governance team, and the primary objective to view the client business requirements and commencing the testing. We need to specify all the possible assumptions, like delivery shall identify the test data, the delivery team expect a sign off they needs to provide us, the business team, BP team, or whatever the team they needs to have a consensus and providing the sign off, and the development team they need to fix the bugs parallel to the testing team but in different environment. All the bug fix development team will doing the parallel to the testing one and for the UAT environment before beginning to the next cycle. So complete testing will be performed in one device. So here you can see that we are restricting the test environment, that this is the device we are only testing the application. So in future, if client said that no, I said to you the three devices, so you can show this plan in front of them that we have committed in test plan, we are only considering and testing the one device. So again, your risk level will be minimized and you will not be able to see any surprises. Then during the regression testing, only 60% of the major test cases you will be executing, and any downtime or delay prerequisites, defect fixation, release, deployment will impacting the testing schedule. And you need to highlight this thing that risk communicated through formal emails will be adjusted and deducted in the testing timelines. And the testing team shall share the master test schedule as current requirement and scope of testing if something is not clear. So this is the way you need to specify the assumption, and any delays and the pre-planned downtime and all the whatever the plans you are having in your mind, you need to specify, and the only thing is to mitigate your risk factor. And then if there will be any kind of risk, you need to specify like following risk might delay or creating a hinders or halt the testing efforts. And here you need to specify the lack of human or material resources in lack of adequate testing environment may create hinder the process, change in the scope will affect the timeline, and revision in the requirement document after initiating the test execution phase. These are all the real-time problems, and delay in the response, communication delays, network issues not resolved, requirement document is not completed, and if the scope is not clear, all these things are coming under the umbrella of risk now. Or you can specify more stuff like data is lost or corrupted, or application component failed to respond, application crashing, and unavailability of prerequisite. If the client is not providing, we cannot proceed our testing activities, and lack of any scope functionalities from the development team, and any delayed deployment from the development team will impact our testing activities. And unexpected project scope expansion definitely increase the testing effort, and we need to make sure that we are only responsible and accountable for testing the decided scope as we discussed in our first slides now. So once you will be completing this testing risk, then you need to specify that how much cost the project commercial for performing the testing services. So you can specify, let's say, the $2,000 with one resource or the two resource, or either the cost of fixed price for a project or the orally based project. So according to the the plan which you are sharing with the client, you need to discuss first that what exactly the client wish for, going with the fixed cost per project or the orally based. So this is, thank you very much for watching. This session is all about the test plan. I hope that you got the clear cut idea how to prepare a professional test plan and presenting in front of your customer. I am attaching this test plan in the content so you can use the similar template and prepare your test plan and presenting to your customers.